I used to tell myself that night shifts were peaceful, fewer cars, fewer people, fewer problems. That's what I believed the first week. I worked as a roadside assistance dispatcher in Northumberland, answering calls from stranded drivers, logging breakdown locations, sending recovery trucks into the dark. The office was small and quiet, tucked behind a petrol station that closed at 10. After that, it was just me, a humming computer, a kettle that never boiled fast enough, and the security lights outside that made everything look like it was underwater. My supervisor, Pete, gave me one rule on my first night. If the system flags Hollowmere Road, you don't send anyone. You log it as signal error and move on. I laughed, thinking it was a prank. Why? He didn't smile. He didn't even blink, because nobody comes back from Hollowmere Road the same. And sometimes they don't come back at all. I told myself it was local superstition, the kind of nonsense people make up to feel like their sleepy towns have secrets worth whispering about. But then the calls started. Not from mobiles. Not from modern car consoles. From a phone box. Red one, the old kind you only ever saw in postcards. It happened at 1:13. A Tuesday night that felt like every other thin rain wind scratching at the windows. My headset squeezing my skull. The incoming call screen flashed. Origin, public telephone line ID. Unknown location, Hollowmere RD Box 3. I stared at it for a long second, waiting for the system to correct itself. It didn't. My finger hovered over the reject button. Pete's rule echoed in my head. But curiosity is a bad habit. A quiet kind of arrogance. A belief that you'll be the exception. I answered. Roadside assist. What's your location? There was no voice at first, only a soft crackling. Like distant fire. Then a sound I didn't expect. Breathing. Slow. Careful. As if whoever it was had to remember how. And then a whisper. Close to the receiver, please. Don't send them. I swallowed. Don't send who? The whisper trembled like a wet match struggling to light. The trucks. The men. They come with lights, and the lights make it worse. I sat up straighter, forcing myself into professional tone. Are you in danger? Do you need police or medical? A pause. Then, I need you to listen. The voice sounded young, maybe a woman, maybe a teenage boy. It was hard to tell, like the sound had been rubbed thin. I'm in the red box, it whispered. Hollowmere Road. The fog is at the glass. It's pressing like hands. I can hear it thinking. I felt my skin tighten. I'm not sure I understand. You will. Then the line filled with a noise that made my stomach twist. Not static, not interference, a low, wet scraping like something dragging itself along the inside of a wall. And beneath it, faint tapping, 3 taps, a pause, 3 taps again, like a polite knock. Like something waiting to be invited in. Hello? I said, can you tell me your name? The voice came back, smaller now. My name was Ellie, I think. A chill moved through me, cold and slow. What do you mean was? The tapping grew louder. The whisper rushed out as if the caller had run out of time. Don't say you can help. Don't promise anything. It hears promises. It collects them. Then a sharp crack, like the handset being slammed against glass, and the call dropped. I sat there in silence. Headset buzzing with dead air. I told myself. Glitch. Prank. Some idiot in a museum phone box. With a voice changer. But the system still showed the call as active in the log. And under the location. A note I hadn't typed appeared on its own. Do not send recovery. Do not acknowledge promises. My hands went clammy. I pulled the headset off. I went to find Pete. Pete was in the break room, stirring sugar into tea like he was trying to dissolve something that wouldn't go away. I told him everything. He didn't look surprised. He looked tired, like a man hearing thunder that he'd been expecting all day. She said her name was Ellie. I finished. Pete's spoon stopped CLINKING. He set the mug down carefully. Ellie Harrow, he said. I frowned. You know her? He stared at the wall like it had a memory written on it. 3 years ago, he said quietly. She called from that same box. Same time, same fog, same tapping. My throat tightened. What happened? Pete's eyes met mine. I broke my own rule. I sent a truck. He paused, and for a second I thought he wouldn't continue. The driver was named Martin. Good bloke. Married. Kid on the way. He radioed in from the road and said the fog wasn't right. Said it didn't move like fog. It watched. Pete swallowed. He found the phone box. Empty. Handset dangling. But the line was still open, and he could hear breathing like someone trapped underwater. I whispered, "Did he find Ellie?" Pete shook his head once. No. But he found something else. Marks on the road. Like thousands of fingertips dragged through mud. My stomach turned. What about Martin? Pete's voice went flat, like he'd practiced the words to make them hurt less. He drove back. Walked into the office. Didn't speak. Didn't blink. Just stood at the reception desk for 20 minutes with his hands in his pockets. I waited. Pete's jaw clenched, and then he opened his hands. I didn't want to ask. I did anyway. What was in them? Pete's eyes shone, not with tears, but with fear that never dried. A promise, he said. Written on wet paper. My skin prickled. A promise? Pete nodded. It said, "I will come back for you." I stared at him, but who wrote it? Pete's mouth twitched, not quite a smile. That's the problem, he said. Martin didn't have paper. We checked the truck later. No notepad. No receipts, nothing. He leaned closer, and the handwriting was mine. I didn't sleep after that shift. I tried to forget. Tried to bury the whole thing under daylight and logic. But the next night at 1:13, the phone rang, again, same source, same location, Hollowmere Road. Box 3MY finger hovered over reject dot, and then the screen flickered. For half a second, the log history displayed a file that shouldn't exist. Case. Harrow. Status. Unfinished Dramise holder. You my breath stopped. I hadn't promised anything. I hadn't even spoken to Ellie again, yet the system this dull. Corporate software said I was already involved, and then the call timer started counting up before I even answered, meaning the line was already open. I put on my headset with shaking hands. Hello? I said, the breathing was back, closer this time, then Ellie's whisper, thin as a thread. You answered last time, she said. That was enough. My throat went dry. Ellie, are you real? A small, sad sound, almost a laugh. Not the way you mean. But I remember my birthday. I remember my mum's hands. I remember the smell of wet wool. The tapping began again. 3 taps, pause, 3 taps. I clenched my teeth. What is that? Ellie whispered. It's the fog. It's inside the box now. I didn't know what to do. My training manual didn't cover haunted phone lines, Ellie, I said carefully. I can call the police. No, she cut in sharp. Don't, they'll come with lights. It loves lights. It eats what the light reveals. The tapping grew faster. I lowered my voice. Then what do you want from me? Ellie inhaled, as if the answer hurt. I want you to stop it using my name. I frowned. Using your name? It calls people, she whispered. It calls them in voices they trust. It uses remembered sounds. Your mom, your partner, your child, anyone you'd run into the dark for. My heart thudded. It started with my name because I answered first, she continued. Now it tries other names. It's learning. A faint creak sounded like the phone box door shifting under pressure. Ellie's whisper trembled. The fog is pressing at the crack like it wants to be shaped. Then, suddenly, a second voice came through .male, .warm, .familiar enough to make my stomach drop. Hey, it said, gently as if calling from another room. It's all right. I'm here. My whole body locked, because it sounded like my father, who'd been dead for 7 years. The voice softened. Come on, it said. You don't have to be scared. Just tell him you'll help. Tell them you'll come. Ellie's whisper turned frantic. Don't listen. That's not him. The tapping became pounding rapid knocks like fists. The voice, my father's voice, laughed quietly. You always were stubborn, it said. But you promised, didn't you? I whispered. I didn't. You did, it said, soothing. You promised you'd never leave me alone. My eyes burned. Grief is a door that opens too easily in the dark. Ellie's voice cracked like glass. It's doing it. It's trying to make you say it. Don't give it words. The voice leaned closer into the line, intimate and awful. Just say you'll come, it murmured. Say you'll come and everything will be quiet. My lips parted. For a second, I felt the weight of the old promise I'd made as a kid at a hospital bedside. And then I remembered Pete's warning. It hears promises. It collects them. I forced my mouth shut. Ellie whispered. Barely audible. Good. Keep it starving. Then the line filled with a new sound. A wet, sliding inhale like fog taking its first breath. And Ellie screamed. Not a loud scream, a muffled one, like a scream trapped in cloth. The call dropped. And on my screen, a new note appeared. Promise pending. I did something stupid. Of course I did. I drove to Hollowmere Road. In my defense, it didn't feel like a choice. It felt like a tug behind my ribs, like someone had tied a string to my sternum and started winding it slowly. Northumberland. At night is all hedgerows and empty lanes. The kind of darkness that swallows your headlights instead of reflecting them. The further I drove, the thicker the mist became. Not drifting mist, standing mist. As if it was waiting for me. Already arranged in place. Then I saw it. The phone box. Red paint faded to a bruised maroon. Glass panes dirty and opaque, like eyes filmed over. It stood alone at the roadside. Not near any village, not near any house, just hedges and moorland stretching into black. And it was our